Never, I repeat, never fall asleep on the bus. I've done that before, and I'm afraid to say that I haven't been myself since. If you ever feel that you're drifting off to sleep on the bus, do anything to stop yourself, or you just might regret it. It happened last month, or so I remember. I had just finished a long day at college, and the bus was running extra late. This was in midwinter, so it was basically pitch black when I reached my bus stop. That day I was extra tired because I only managed to get about 3 hours sleep the night before. My bus eventually arrived and I got on, showing my ticket. I proceeded to walk to the top deck. When I reached the top deck, there was only 3 people up there, 2 right at the back and an old woman at the front. I sat down somewhere in the middle, got comfortable and put my headphones on. So on the bus went. It would take me about half an hour or so before I reached my bus stop. Even though I was listening to heavy metal / rock on my phone, I started to get really sleepy and drifted off to sleep. I would occasionally wake up to see where I was and regain my composure. For some reason, that journey seemed extra long this time, and I wasn't even halfway when I woke up. So on and off it went. I would drift off to sleep and wake up to see where I was. Then I fell into a really deep sleep. I was dreaming about being on the bus, but this time there didn't seem to be anyone on it. All the lights on the bus were off, but for some reason it was still driving. I tried to look out of the misted up window, but all I could see was a deep endless void of blackness beyond it. I got up out of my seat and headed downstairs, steadying myself on the way down. I reached the bottom of the stairs, and there didn't seem to be anyone down there either. All the lights were off, just like the top deck. I walked to the driver's seat of the bus, but no one was driving it. It was as if the bus had a mind of its own. I tried to look out of the window down there too, but still all I could see was blackness. I could hear a faint crackling noise coming from behind me. I turned to look, and it was the driver's walkie-talkie laying there on the floor. I investigated it and picked it up. Suddenly I could hear a voice. It sounded like worried voices. Then the worried voices turned into shouting and screaming. I could hear my voice. It was telling me something. It was quite faint, but I could still manage to hear it. Wake up. It slowly started to get louder. Wake up, wake up. It got so loud that I started to get dizzy and the words were now burning into my head. Wake up, wake up, wake up. I was in agony and fell onto the floor. As I was falling down, I was getting images of the most horrific scenes. People lay all over the bus, their limbs torn from their bodies and their entrails and blood scattered all over the place. The images flashed before me like a slideshow. I awoke, panicking in a nervous sweat back in my seat on the bus with my music still playing. I looked up. The old woman who was sitting in front of me was now giving me a weird look. I sat up and looked around. The 2 people who were sitting behind me were now gone. I looked out of my window. We had hardly travelled that far from our last stop. This journey is taking forever. My parents must be wondering where the hell I had got to. I checked the time on my phone. 7:42. Bloody hell, I'm usually back home by now. I checked my messages. 3 unread messages from Dad. Where are you? Do you want picking up? Mum's getting worried. I replied, Hi Dad. Sorry I didn't see your message, I fell asleep. I finished late because I had to stay back for catch-up work. Then my bus was bloody late. Shouldn't be too long now. Dad, oh okay, I'll put your dinner in the oven, because it was getting cold. See you soon. Me. Okay, thank you Dad. Hope this bloody bus hurries the fuck up. See you soon. Dad, okay, sleep tight. I was slightly confused with his last text. What did he mean? Sleep tight. I ignored the text and carried on listening to my music. A few minutes had passed, and I noticed that the woman at the front was still staring at me. How long had it been? I was starting to feel uneasy. I looked at the woman, not a single movement. The whole time she had been staring at me. I don't think I even saw her blink once. I shouted to her, Madam, can I help you? No reply. I shouted again, "Madam!" I was starting to feel really disturbed. There was something about her that chilled me to the very bone. I picked my stuff up and headed down to the bottom deck. No one was down there. It seemed that me, the weird woman, and the driver were the only ones on the bus now. I sat down right at the back of the bus. Now I wouldn't have that old crone staring deep into my soul anymore. I looked out of my window, pure blackness beyond. Then out of the darkness, I saw a sign. Beechwood Road. Beechwood Road? I never remember going that way before on previous journeys. Had I missed my stop? I shouted to the driver, "Have we gone through Brooksfield yet?" No reply. He must have heard me. I shouted a bit louder, "Excuse me, mate, have we gone through Brooksfield yet?" Still no answer. I started to get worried. I looked out of the window again, but this time I noticed we were driving through some empty street. Where was I? I stood up out of my seat and walked over to the bus driver. I nervously approached him, calling him on the way there. "Sir, excuse me, sir." I came into view of him. He was wearing a black hoodie. I'm sure he wasn't wearing that when I got on the bus. His face was blocked because his hood was up. I tried speaking to him again, this time my voice sounding firmer. "Sir, have we gone through Brooksfield yet?" Still no reply. I began to get very cross. I looked out of the front window. Nobody was on the street. No cars on the road. Nobody anywhere. I have never seen a place like this before. I could see through one of the shop windows. I noticed a person standing in there. She smiled and waved. What? It cannot be. It was the woman. The bus carried on through the deserted street. I could see another shop window on the other side. She was also over there, but this time pointing and laughing. I felt sick. I felt like I was going to faint. The bus drove on. I could see another window. The woman was now writing on the glass with lipstick. It read, "Look at the driver." I turned hesitantly to the driver, dreading of what I'd see. I looked round and the driver was still sitting there with his hood up. I reached my hand out and pulled down his hood. It was the woman. She turned her head to me. She turned her head to face me and gave me the most hideous, toothless grin. She started to laugh. I couldn't move. I was petrified with fear. She got right up in my face and said, "Wake up." I woke up panicking again, but this time I wasn't on the bus. I was back at college, back in my class. All of that was a dream? I looked around, just me and my friend Rose. I spoke to her. "Where is everyone?" "Gone home, remember? Are you okay? You said you was feeling really tired, so you had to sleep." "Oh yeah, sorry. I'm a bit disorientated. I had the most horrid dream." I proceeded to tell her about the dream and what was going on. Some time had passed and I continued with my studies. All that panic and worry made me need the toilet. So I left the room and headed to the boys' toilet. As I was walking through the college, it seemed awfully empty. No teacher, no student, security, nothing. It was as if me and Rose were the only ones there. I'd never stayed that late before. I went to the toilets and done my business. As I was washing my hands, I looked in the mirror. I looked so tired, I thought to myself. I must get back soon before I collapse. In the reflection of the mirror, I could see someone peeping out of the cubicle behind me. I turned to look behind me. Nothing there. I really need to go home soon, I thought to myself. I walked out of the toilets and headed back to the classroom. I walked back into the room, but Rose was gone. Her stuff was there, but she was nowhere to be seen. I called her. No answer. She must have gone to the toilets or something. I got a message from my dad. "I'll be there soon, outside the college, yeah?" That's funny, I thought. I didn't even text him to say he should pick me up, but I was thinking about it. I must have said to him earlier. So I got my stuff together and started to head downstairs. As I reached the door, Rose was standing there. She looked scared. She looked terrified. She screamed and pointed at me. "Your face." I replied, "What? What's wrong with it?" I lifted my hand to my face and it felt distorted. twisted and strange. I felt a weird liquid oozing from it. I looked at my hand and it was soaked in blood. I ran through the corridor and over to the bathroom mirror. I looked at my face and I was disgusted at the sight of it. My jaw was dislocated from my skull and skin hung from my face like a melting candle. I started to scream, but my jaw fell off. What's happening to me? I woke up yet again, back on the bus. Is this real this time? Is this a dream? Am I going insane? I feel my mental state slowly deteriorating. This has to be real this time. I looked around. One person on the back of the bus now. The other two were gone. Just some old guy sitting on the back reading a book. I tried to calm my nerves. I look out of the window. Thank God. I'm at the stop before my house. I regain my composure and contemplate whether this is a dream or reality. It has to be real this time. I open my phone. 7:42. I just want to go home. I get my stuff together and proceed to walk downstairs. We are approaching my stop. I look around on the bottom deck. 3 people are sitting at the back. As we approach my stop, I am blinded by a huge light. The light covers the whole front window. Then all of a sudden I go flying into the air. Everything is shaking and moving around. Everything goes black. I wake up. The strong smell of petrol oozes through my nostrils. I look around. The scene before me is something from a horror movie. Blood, guts and decapitated limbs, just as I had seen in the dream. This has to be a dream now. This cannot be real. I look at my reflection in a broken piece of glass. My jaw. Oh my God, my jaw. It's hanging off my face, just as my dream foretold. I can't feel it. I can't feel anything. I look behind me. The decapitated bodies get off the floor and move towards me. The sound is gut-wrenching. They gather around me and say, "Are you sure you're not dreaming? This must be a dream. It has to be a dream." The decapitated people point to the floor. I look down. It's me. How can I be dreaming? How can I dream if I am already dead? This was never a dream, none of it. This is the definition of insanity. This is purgatory. This is hell.